need a mask.
And they don't work anyways.
They don't work.
Haven't you watched my interviews?
Yeah, I do.
Masks don't work. I
They
just
don't.
say they work because the Democrats pay me a lot of money to say they work.
Yep.
I'm not even a real doctor.
not?
These sheep out there just hate Trump so much, they'll do whatever I tell them to do.
Hashtag
do
maskless.
as I say, not as I do.
Hashtag
Masks are
maskless.
for thee, but not for me.
Well, what are you going to do if they see you without your mask
Yep.
on?
I'll just say it's mischievous criticism.
Oh, okay.
I'll just say my mask was partially down, and
Yep.
they'll believe every word I say.
Every word.
I'm Dr. Fauci. I run this country.
Mic
These
drop.
sheep are under my control.
Democrats.
Now, take your non-working mask off, and let's enjoy this America-hating baseball game.
Vote for Biden.
On your knees, bitches.
Bless America! And let's get that. Bob! What? You turned down the monitor speakers? Thank you. For the love of Pete. Why do you think I wear the headphones?
Because you look cool.
All right. Thank you. Welcome to the JAZ McKAY Show. It's Monday, damn it. It's Monday. Coming up on the program, I have Ash O'Brien will be here. And Ash will be telling us, Ash short for Ashley, Ash will be here to tell us about what happened to her. I don't know if you saw the video. It's gone viral. God, I hate that term. Can we do away with, could that be one of our banned phrases? It's gone viral. It's a viral video. Especially in today's day and age with the coronavirus. Do we really want to be talking about, do we want to be mocking the coronavirus by talking about viral videos? This video is a virus. So anyway, yeah, so what is this? Get that out of here. I'm sorry. Take it. Get it out of here. Distracted me there for a moment. Where was I? Oh, yeah. This video of Ash and her husband at the dog park in San Diego, at the Dusty, what was it again, Bob? Dusty Roads Dog Park in San Diego, where Ash and her husband, they took their little 3-month-old baby puppy with them to the dog park, and they had some food, and they were sitting at a table, at a picnic table, eating their lunch and enjoying the day at the dog park Thursday afternoon. And a woman comes up and starts yelling at them about not wearing masks. And they said, well, we're eating and you can't wear a mask while you eat. Well, this pissed the woman off even more because apparently they've banned eating at the dog park. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, because if you're eating at the dog park, you might drop some food on the ground, and the dogs could get it, and that's not a good thing. I mean, no, maybe I don't. Look, I have no clue. But so anyway, this woman walks away from them, and then she comes back a few seconds later with a can of mace and just spray. Well, actually, it wasn't mace. It was pepper spray. I don't think mace. Can you buy mace at the checkout line at the Walmart? Can you get a can of mace? I don't think so. I think it's pepper spray. But you get the picture. Sprays this couple. It tries to spray the woman. I think the husband jumped in between her and his wife, and the woman sprays him in the face, and just because they weren't wearing masks. There was another lady at the dog park who happened to have a video, like everybody, she's got a phone, okay? And she starts videotaping this altercation. And so we'll talk with Ash. We'll talk with the woman whose husband was assaulted by this elderly lady and I use that term loosely, at this dog park in San Diego over, let's see, it was last Thursday. And we'll find out what the latest is, how her husband's condition. He had to go to the hospital, this guy, apparently. And so we'll talk about that, and we'll talk with her. Also, Walmart, speaking of masks, Walmart, we'll get to this a little bit. Walmart and Home Depot have rescinded their mask orders. Now, I don't know if that applies here in California, but just the fact that they have rescinded this demand that everybody wear a mask is kind of telling. All right. Also, Whole Foods is being sued. We'll talk about that. And the protest in Portland. It's kind of interesting. Here we are in 122,000 days of rioting. Why do I say protesting? I didn't mean protesting. That's an insult to protesters out there. These are riots. They go on every night and have been for the past 335,000 days in Portland, Oregon, where the mayor went out last week and participated in some of the rioting. He helped to set fire to a federal courthouse. The mayor, Ted Wheeler, helped set fire to a federal courthouse and then denied that there was anything going on. They stood there with a mask and goggles on, talking to the media while there's a fire the federal courthouse burning in the background, and says, there's nothing going on here. There's nothing wrong. This is a very peaceful protest. They're denying, the left is, I don't know if you know this or not. I mean, even Fox News is not acknowledging. Well, Tucker Carlson is, Sean Hannity is, and Laura Ingraham is, but the rest of the day, at least during the daytime, nobody's talking about what's going, the riots and the mayhem going on in Portland and Seattle and continuing in Chicago and all over the country. The left denying that it's taking place. I heard that this morning, I heard Jerry Nadler actually said, when someone asked him, what about the protests going on in Portland? He said, what are you talking about? That's not true. There's no protest. There's no riots going on. They're scared to death. The left in this country, the Democrat Party, the Socialist Democrat Party, folks, are scared to death. And I think they've realized that they overstepped. I think they realize that they have, that their support of this rioting, which has resulted in, over 1,000 police officers assaulted. I want to say somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 40 murders. People have died as a result of this rioting, and they're not reporting that, and they're ignoring it. And then the media is ignoring it. And then, of course, you've got all these politicians in Washington, D.C., who just sit back and go, what, riots in Portland? Riots? I haven't heard about any riots. There's nothing going on in Portland. There's nothing going on in Chicago. I mean, other than the fact that Donald Trump has sent in secret police, the secret police, to harass innocent, peaceful protesters who are just trying to tear down some statues. There was also, speaking of statues, in Weatherford, Texas, over the weekend, a bunch of these dadgum BLMers and Antifas decided to go to the small town of Weatherford, Texas. We've got some video. We'll play that for you. There were about, they bussed them in. They brought them in by bus. And there were about 2,000 residents of Waterford, Texas, or Weatherford, Texas, I'm sorry, who were waiting for them and said, "You're not tearing down our statue." And they didn't tear down the statue. Also, the truth about public schools. Folks, I've been saying this, I can't tell you how many years I've been saying this. The most dangerous organization in the United States. It's not some terrorist cell. It's not even Black Lives Matter. The most dangerous organization in America today are the teachers' unions. We'll talk about that. We got a lot to pack in today. Also, a black Trump supporter. Speaking of people being murdered during these challenging times, I think, is that still the term? These challenging times. Oh, we still talking about these challenging times, these uncertain times. Yeah, a black man killed by Black Lives Matter, murdered by Black Lives Matter, shot for the crime of wearing a MAGA hat. Go figure. Go figure. Also, what else? This weekend, I am a video producer over at YouTube. Just relatively something new that I've been doing, and YouTube contacted me. They're making a documentary film. And they asked me to contribute to it. It's called A Life in a Day. And I don't know what they were expecting by asking me to contribute. They wanted me to film my day on Saturday, this past Saturday, and submit it to them for inclusion in this international project that is directed by Ridley Scott, who's he's a pretty well-known, I think it's produced by him. And I said, okay, let's see what happens. So I videotaped myself on Saturday, just how I spent the day. Got up, drank some coffee, smoked some cigarettes, and sat here at the computer making memes and videos that I'm sure YouTube would find very offensive. As a matter of fact, you guys want to see one of the memes that I made? One of the memes that I did. You know how they like to spray paint the clenched fist? They have stencils that they use. They have stencils of a clenched fist, and they spray paint these things. All the Black Lives Matter people do, all over everywhere wherever they're going to go riot. They spray paint this clenched fist. It's a left hand clenched fist. And so I saw a picture of one, and the picture had been the graffiti had been altered. And I thought it was kind of clever what the person did. Here's the first meme that I produced this weekend. Now I know what to do if I ever see any BLM fist graffiti. I thought that was great. And speaking of going viral, that meme has gone viral. Be sure and go to the Facebook page, JAZ McKay's Meme-A-Rama. Like and share the memes that you find there at JAZ McKay's Meme-A-Rama. Also, this one, I thought this was one of the best that we've ever produced at JAZ McKay's Meme-A-Rama. It's the latest in Antifa fashion. They're having Antifa fashion shows now. And there you have it, the Antifa fashion show. And that's just a couple of examples. There's more. In fact, we're going to be updating that meme later this week with even more exciting pictures of the latest Antifa fashion show. This is the latest. It's Antifa activewear. That's the latest in Antifa activewear that is sweeping the country. It's huge over there in your France, over there where they, just because you're a dirty, smelly hippie doesn't mean that you don't care about the way you look. The latest in Antifa fashion. More to come from Jazz McKay's Meme-Rama Facebook page. And then this picture made all the rounds. Speaking of viral pictures, this one right there. Fauci throws out the first pitch, which did you see that video? Oh, my God. I've thrown out one first pitch in my life, and at least I got it over the plate, actually physically over the home plate. But there he is. Look at this. This is a guy telling you that you have to wear a mask. This is the guy that tells you and tells all the politicians, you got to wear a mask. And here he is, sitting watching a baseball game. Now, when he got busted because of that, what did he say? He said, no, that's perfectly fine. I just had the mask down for a few seconds. I was taking a sip off my water. I was dehydrated. All these mischievous conservatives trying to make a big deal out of that. Does that look like he's sipping on water to you? Where is the water bottle? I don't see the water bottle, Fauci. There you go, Anthony Fauci. Not wearing a mask. Actually, you know what? He's wearing it the way I wear my masks, as a beard bib. Maybe he was going to eat some spaghetti. These are really, really good, by the way, for spaghetti. If you have a beard, you put on the beard bib here like this, around both ears, and just strap it in there. And you got yourself a nice little beard bib. So there's Anthony Fauci not wearing a mask. And the funny thing is, he's wearing a beard bib, but he doesn't have a beard. Anybody notice that? Isn't that interesting? Anyway, so like I mentioned, Ash O'Brien is with us. Let's get right to her. I want you to watch first, though, before we bring Ash O'Brien on. Her and her husband were assaulted by an elderly woman in San Diego. Let's watch the video. This is the actual video that apparently there was a lady also in the park who saw what was happening when this old lady comes up with a can of pepper spray and starts spraying it all over Ash and her husband for the crime of not wearing a mask in public. Watch this.
What are you doing? You cannot be serious. You just maced him. You just maced him. You just maced him. You just maced him and their food because you disagreed. Don't worry, I'm videotaping. Don't worry.
That's wrong, man.
I'm not going to.
That's not okay.
This is not for.
That is not okay.
Not
You
okay.
can't treat people like that.
What's
That is
wrong
wrong.
with you, lady?
That is wrong. You can't go around doing people
It's okay, guys. This is her car.
Raise somebody.
Don't worry, I got it. You weren't defending yourself, lady, and I've got this.
Did she hurt her?
I didn't do anything.
She didn't do anything.
And joining me right now is Ash O'Brien. Now, you didn't see Ash in that video that we just played, but you heard her in the background. She is the wife of the man that was hit with the pepper spray, and pretty badly too. Ash, welcome to the Jazz McKay Show on Twitch. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
I want to thank you for being with us. When I saw your post yesterday on Facebook, and I guess this happened on Thursday, right?
Yeah.
When I saw this post, my mouth just fell open. I could not believe that this woman would do this to you and your husband, especially with a little 3-month-old pug. And we see the puppy. You know, I'm a dog nut. I'm a dog nut, Ash. And when I saw that poor puppy, and he almost got out, it looked like he almost slipped out through the gate when the old woman was taken off, right?
Yeah, at the end of the video.
Yeah, that upset me, though, the whole thing. I could not believe. Tell everybody, if you would, the story. How did this happen?
Okay, so we were at Dusty Roads Dog Park in Ocean Beach, San Diego, and we had just picked up some Phil's barbecue. We wanted to have lunch, just relax in the park. So we went to the park. We weren't wearing masks because it was an outdoor space,
Right.
and we weren't near anybody. And there's a picnic table that is set up in the park, but then we later came to find out that food was not allowed, and this is what started the whole confrontation with the lady. She came up to us because some person's dog was like jumping on the table, and I said that people should train their dogs not to jump on a table of food, you know. And she was like, oh, well, maybe you shouldn't have brought food to a dog park. And
Were you talking to her, or did she just interject herself into your conversation with your husband?
herself. We were away from everyone. Like, we were just trying to relax and have a good time with the dog.
Yeah, sure. And you wouldn't expect who expects a confrontation in a dog park of all things?
Yeah.
On a Thursday afternoon. So she just comes up and starts reading you guys the riot act for having food. That was the first problem she had with you, right?
And then she brought up us not having masks. I didn't really think it was necessary to wear a mask just because we weren't near anyone. It's an outdoor space where air is circulating. We weren't in a closed space.
Right.
You know? Everyone was spread out.
Well, all the all the studies show that outdoors there's no necessity to wear a mask. I suppose if you feel like wearing one, fine. So she comes out, she starts bitching at you for not wearing a mask after bitching at you for having food. She was just she seemed like a very angry woman, Ash.
Yeah, she's a psycho.
Well, no doubt. So then, so tell me what happened next. So she's yelling at you about the food, and then she starts yelling at you about the mask. And what did you say to her when she brought up, you guys not wearing masks?
I told her to quit fucking harassing us and to leave us alone. Like, we didn't even want to talk to her. We weren't talking to anybody. We were just trying to relax in the park. So I told her to leave us the fuck alone. And then she walks away. And, like, I look over at her, and then she flips me off.
Okay.
Yeah. So then I asked her if she wanted to talk about it. She could come to the table and talk. And then so she comes back over, no problem, like, just not even saying anything. And she sticks the can of mace directly in my face. So my husband comes in, steps in front. And then she grabs him and starts macing him. She used the entire can on his face.
Now, that's where the video begins. Yeah, because I notice he's kind of waving his hands around, trying to wave off this spray of this pepper, the fumes of this pepper spray. And just as that woman, whoever she was, God bless her for being there with her camera phone ready to go.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the incident, my husband did try to point the can down so she wouldn't spray me.
Sure. And
then that's when she grabbed him and started spraying him and stuff. He was just trying to de-escalate the situation. My husband is a very kind and non-confrontational person. That's why he didn't even do anything to her after she drenched him in pepper spray.
I've had so many of my Facebook friends say to me after I shared your video. And they said, "Oh my God, I would have slapped. I don't care, old lady, I would have smacked the hell out of her." And I know that emotion, I know that feeling, and I feel the same way. But there again, I mean, unless you're really, if your life is in danger, I guess But you said your husband, in one of your posts, you said that your husband is not that kind of guy. He's not a violent man.
He's not a confrontational or a violent person, at all. He was just trying to de-escalate the situation the entire time.
Now, do you guys normally wear masks when it's required by the masked Nazis at the grocery stores and things like that?
Yeah, so whenever we go to a grocery store or the mall or a restaurant, we wear a mask because it's required. But outside, it just doesn't make sense to me because air is circulating. And I don't know if this is true exactly, but I've heard the coronavirus the virus itself gets killed in the air if it's 70 degrees and above.
Exactly
and in California, hot.
We've all, we've heard that too. But again, she was nowhere near you until she came. It wasn't like you went over and you didn't get in her face, right? You didn't get in her space. She came over and got in your space.
Yeah, we didn't leave the table the entire time.
And she comes over, starts yelling at you about food, and then she's not happy because you guys aren't wearing masks, like that's some sort of prerequisite to going to the dog park in San Diego. And you told her to fuck off, which is a normal thing. And you look like a lady who probably tells people to fuck off when you when you're not happy with someone's demeanor or verbiage,
If someone's bothering me, I confront them about it. I don't care.
I'm kind of the same way. I'm Irish, and
me too. My last name's O'Brien.
I was going to say. Now, when you realized what was happening, what was your reaction? We don't see you in the video. How did you respond when the woman starts spraying your husband with the mace or the pepper spray, I should say?
So my husband stood in front of me so I didn't get sprayed. Like, he did that to protect me and the dog.
That's a good man. Good man.
Yeah. But my biggest concern with this as well is that she put the animals' lives at risk. Like, pugs have respiratory issues.
Exactly.
If he would have gotten sprayed, he would have died. And if you look at the video, she's like tugging her dog around. She could have gotten a spray on her own dog.
Now, I saw pictures of your husband from taken at the hospital. Let's talk about that for a moment, and I want to come back to the actual incident. But he had to go to the hospital. You brought up the dog. If that dog had gotten hit with that pepper spray, with the respiratory problems that pugs have, she has a 3-month-old pug puppy. That could have been life or death for that poor little guy.
Any of the dogs would have died, even her own.
Yeah, and she just didn't seem to care one way or another.
Oh, here he is.
Here he is. Oh, what's his name?
Bud.
Bud.
Hey.
Hi, Bud. What a sweetie.
It's Spud, like potato.
Oh, Spud. Oh, Spud.
Yeah.
Spud, I'm sorry. Hi, Spud. You're such a good boy. What a good
Hi, everybody.
Boy. I had one back in 1981. I had a little pug named Vladimir. I love
that.
Well, you know where I got the name? At that time, there was a movie called Arthur that was very popular, and it had Dudley Moore in it. And there was a scene in the movie where he says to a prostitute, "Would you object to naming a child Vladimir, even if it's a girl?" And I don't know why that movie was great, but that line just stood out to me. So I named my pug Vladimir after that. Oh, Spud is, look at him looking at us. He's watching us. He watches the Jazz McKay Show on Twitch. And the eyes too. With the pug's eyes, that could have just pepper spray could have harmed him so severely. That is just, I can't believe this woman would do that. She's old enough to know better. This wasn't some 15 or 16-year-old kid at the skate park. This is a 70-year-old woman. It looked like to me.
At the park when this happened.
I cannot. Now, I heard, when this occurred, I heard, obviously the woman with the camera phone. And she comes over and she, "What are you doing? What are you doing? This is," and then of course the obligatory, "This is not okay." That's just a phrase. I hate that phrase. Can we ban the phrase? This is not okay. Of course it's not okay, lady. But bless her heart for having the camera there, because she was able to actually record the woman as she was getting into her car and got a close up of that license plate, which should enable the police there in San Diego to identify who this assailant was. And you guys, that was that's simple battery. That is battery in the full. Now, did you contact? You did contact the police?
Yeah. So after the incident happened, my husband went to the bathroom and was rinsing his face off with soap water. We were just mainly focused, like, getting as much of the spray off of him. And then we went to the hospital, and then after that, we met up with some police in town and filed the report, showed them the video and everything.
Yeah. And what's now here it is Monday. What's happened so far? Have they found, they've got to know who she is from the registration of the vehicle.
We're going to contact the detective that's going to be investigating the case, but they haven't, like, released her name or anything. I wish they would, because I feel like she needs to be known. People in San Diego need to watch out for this lady, because I don't want her assaulting kids or dogs getting involved and dogs dying, or a kid or just anybody dying from it.
She is, obviously this woman is unstable. I mean, we can make jokes about, you know, oh, look at the old Karen. We can say, we can do all that junk. But this woman is a danger. She's clearly unstable.
Yeah.
You know, that's not the way normal people react to a situation like that.
She politely been like, oh yeah, it's like a no food rule in the park, and we would have taken the food out of the park.
Sure. But
automatically just came at us like being a bitch. So
she was automatically confrontational with you, and you were, you know, equally confrontational back to her, but not to the level that would cause or justify an assault and battery.
I had no intentions of, like, wanting to assault her or anything. I was just trying to get her to leave us alone. We were just trying to eat our food and enjoy our time with our dog.
I wish you guys the best. How's your husband feeling? Is he okay?
Yeah, we're good now. Like, everything's back to normal. He's not re-flashing or anything from the spray. So.
I was worried about perhaps having some sort of reaction in the eyes and things like that. And
when we took him to the hospital, his vision was impaired by the spray, and a lot of his skin was super red and irritated. And when we got back from the hospital and he took a shower, he was just re-flashing everywhere, like his face, neck, like just everywhere.
Well, I hope he is better. I hope he's doing good. You take care of that puppy, and please keep me posted when the police make an arrest on this woman, and let me know what happens, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
I appreciate it. Ashley O'Brien, a fine Irish gal from San Diego whose husband was assaulted by a 70-plus-year-old lady. Horrible, horrible thing. Ashley, take care. Great talking to you.
Great talking to you, too.
We'll be right back with more of the Jazz McKay Show after these important announcements.
The Jazz McKay Show is on.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by Obscene Cuisine, the new microwave dinner that's so offensive, the Federal Communications Commission won't let us tell you what's in it. Obscene Cuisine. Look for it in the frozen food section of your local adult video store.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Pushing your buttons and pushing the envelope on free speech. It's
The Jazz Man.
Jazz McKay on Twitch.
Yeah, buddy, and we're back. I want to thank Ashley O'Brien for being with us. Man, I cannot believe it. Is this how bad things have gotten? I mean, to this point now, where where a woman, an older woman too. Now I don't know how old she is. She looked to be at least in her 60s. Is attacking two people in a dog park simply because they're not wearing masks. And I guess this is the new normal. Is that what this is? Is this the new freaking normal? We got a story coming up in a few minutes. I'll tell you about a man was murdered, just cold blood, for wearing a MAGA hat. Killed by Black Lives Matter supporters. And they feel justified. I'm sure they felt justified in doing it. And the thing of it is, he's a black guy. He's a black guy. It's beyond me how this country has gotten to this point where these people have gone completely insane and are, I guess, assuming that they're virtuous. That somehow attacking a couple in a park or shooting and killing a black man for nothing more than wearing a Trump hat, a Make America Great Again hat. That somehow they're doing God's work or something? Am I to understand that correctly? I mean, you talk about virtue signaling. I don't know. Virtue signaling is the current phrase to describe it, but to me, it's moral narcissism. In thinking that you're somehow such a wonderful person and all these other people are bad, and somehow that justifies your bad behavior. And most of the left is in absolute, utter denial. Absolute denial. The lamestream media, the liberal establishment media, lies more and more and more to we the people. They lie by what they do, and they lie by what they don't do. They lie by omission. Even a White House press briefing last week was strategically dropped by the lamestream media, lest we, the great unwashed in this country, the great unwashed masses, find out what's really going on out there. From Pajamas Media, to shield their viewers, folks, from acknowledging a reality that would pop their liberal bubbles of disinformation, the cable news networks cut away from a White House press briefing on Friday as soon as the press secretary began playing clips of the so-called peaceful protests. And these protesters / rioters engaging in absolute and utter wanton violence and wishing death to police officers, telling police officers, I hope you die. I hope your family dies. CNN didn't want anybody to see that. MSNBC didn't want you to see that. So when the White House press secretary, when Kayleigh goes to this clip, they cut away. As soon as the clip came up, boom, man, they're gone. I mean, and even Fox News cut away. Rather than allow Kayleigh to provide context for the current events that are going on in the world today, that are going on right under our noses. When was the last time you saw, even on Fox, if it weren't for Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham and, of course, Tucker Carlson, when was the last time you saw any of this footage? Other than here on the worldwide interwebs or on the JAZ McKAY Show. I've shown you clips of what's happening. I'll show you the video. We won't censor. We don't censor here. This is the uncensored JAZ McKAY Show. We don't answer to anybody other than ourselves here on this broadcast. What the uninformed viewers of CNN, even Fox News, what they missed seeing was footage of rioters in Portland setting fires, vandalizing property, overturning barricades. There's a great article up at PJ Media. I posted this on my Facebook page. I'm quoting from it. They were ripping apart walls, donning weapons, carrying weapons, attacking law enforcement. They realized, by the way, what's happening is why is CNN cutting away from this clip? Why are they ignoring what's happening? Simple. They finally realized that the American people have just about had it up to here with these so-called peaceful protests, right? They're not peaceful, and they're not protests. Well, there might be some protest around 5 or 6 o'clock, but by the time the sun goes down, it turns into a full-blown riot. Now, you can do what you do. You can do what you like. Tune into the mainstream media. Tune in, or as I call it, the lamestream media, and watch all these little, peaceful little hippies, sniffing flowers and smelling of patchouli oil, wearing tie-dye, and they're so peaceful, and look at all the people. You can watch that, or you can see the reality. We've got it for you right here on the show. Take a look at this. This is what they don't want you to see. This is what the lamestream media cut away from on Friday during the White House press briefing. All this that you're seeing Thursday night. Portland, Seattle, Chicago. These are the peaceful protesters, folks.
I hope someone kills your whole family.
I hope someone kills your whole family.
I hope they kill you too. I hope someone burns down your whole precinct with all y'all inside. Can't wait to see it.
That's what you've got, and that's what the lamestream media doesn't want you to see. Heaven forbid that you should see the truth. The media in this country, they don't want you to know the truth because they realize it's not working. All of this crap, it's not working. It's not having the desired effect on you. Why on earth would they deny that it's happening, deny that it's occurring? Why would the media break away from that video? Why are they not showing you the 2,378 days of rioting that's going on? Why on earth? What do you think, huh? Why on earth would they do that? Because they finally realize, it's taken them a while, but they know. No, they know that you're not falling for it. You're not so foolish as to believe that these are peaceful protesters. You're not so foolish as to believe what they tell you, what the left tells you, that you're paying attention, that you've been paying attention, and that's good. Because if you're not pissed off at this, if you're not pissed off at what's going on, what's transpiring before us, you simply are not paying attention. If you're not aware, if you're not making yourself aware of all of this, then you're not paying attention. If you're not angry, if you don't see this as if you don't see this,
What are you doing?
if you don't see this for what it is, an attempt to if you don't see this for what it is, which is politics, which is political, you've got your head buried in the sand. It's really just that simple. Over the weekend in the small town of Weatherford, Texas, a group of BLM protesters showed up to remove a statue, a Confederate statue, a memorial, in this tiny little town in Texas, a suburb of Dallas. They showed up in buses, about 50, 60 of them. Well, the people of this tiny little town in Texas said no. No, they pushed back. They were out in force. This is what is needed in America today. This is what is needed in Portland and in Seattle. Unfortunately, the residents of those communities, I don't know, either they're afraid or they're on the side of the protesters. The people of Weatherford, Texas, they weren't on their side by any stretch of the imagination. They turned out in force.
Trump!
Small town of Weatherford, Texas. This was Saturday.
Messed with the wrong town.
I know, Melanie, it's crazy. Hey, Savannah. Hey, Bailey. Hey, Amy. Show them that flag, baby. Show them. We are here defending our town. We are not going to be messing around. Yes, ma'am, Miss Melanie. You know I will. We have a lot of people here with us, so we are going to be safe. But this is crazy. Crazy. This is in the middle of our town, guys. Our sweet Weatherford. Hey, Paige. Just... Say, lots of guys with lots of armor. People ain't playing around, guys. You don't come to Weatherford. We don't deal with this. We don't deal.
Now, what little coverage that this got all claimed that what you're seeing here were a bunch of racists, a bunch of white supremacists showing up to confront peaceful protesters. No, these are the people of Waterford, Texas, who said, I've had enough of your so-called peaceful protests. You're not coming to our town. You're not coming to our town to riot and burn down buildings. These people were here to protect themselves and to protect their town.
All lives matter. Say, I can't even tell you how many people are here.
I'm looking around at this video. I've seen others, and I could I could guesstimate it to be between 3,000 and 5,000 people of Weatherford, Texas.
That comes our way.
And Texas is an open carry state, so you got an awful lot of folks here armed, ready to defend themselves against these maggots, these Marxist maggots of Black Lives Matter.
Cannot let them get away with this. Wrong town. Wrong town.
You've heard that the Black Lives Matter people and Antifa have been saying, we're going to be going into the rural areas next. You know, they've done all the damage that they can do to the major cities. In this case, Dallas. All of these BLMers, and there were really only about 50 to 60, according to all reports that I saw.
Make racists afraid again? What the fuck?
Showed up and from Fort Worth, from Dallas, Fort Worth, to tear down this town's Civil War memorial.
Crazy. All lives matter. All lives matter. All lives matter.
Well, the people of Weatherford said, no sirree, you're not doing that here, baby.
What are they trying to get away with? Not sure.
Seriously, why? Why? There's nothing. Why?
What does that mean? Just surrender?
Don't shoot me. My hands are up.
Oh my gosh. They're trying to take our statue down. We can't let them do that. This is in Weatherford, Texas, guys. This is in Weatherford.
This was Saturday afternoon.
We don't need this.
Saturday evening.
We need our world to be better. Come on.
And you know what? I totally support the rebel flag, too, by the way. Have I mentioned that? Yeah, I support the rebel flag.
Where are they going?
Not for what it means to Black Lives, not to what it represents to Black Lives Matter.
Oh,
I support the rebel flag for what it means to me and what it means to these people.
Okay, I'm with you. Racism has no home here. Okay.
There they are marching.
All lives matter. All.
Keep going.
All
Keep
lives.
Going. Move to the other side. Keep going.
I hope they keep going, girl. I hope they keep going. You're good.
In their fucking cars and go home.
This whole thing lasted.
So are they walking? Are they going?
No, they're just walking around. To
This
their
whole
car.
thing lasted
They're walking.
about,
Oh, they're surrounded there. So
less than an hour.
okay. So they're just going to walk away. So this started at 5:30 or 5 o'clock, I guess. But people have been down here all day. They've been down here all day. Do you feel safe? Yes. I feel safe. Yeah. Yeah. Jamie's not going to let anything happen to me, but yes, extremely safe. There's been a few scream-in matches, but nothing, or else I promise my heart's beating, but I feel very, very safe. I would not be this close.
This is what's needed all over the country.
But we have to stand
this
up.
kind of
We can't
pushback.
keep letting people do
Because,
this.
like I said, this started around 5 o'clock. She just mentioned it, around 5 o'clock. It was over by 6. That was not the plan. They went back
That's
to
right,
their
keep our
buses
history. That's
early
right.
because of the
Exactly.
massive show of support for the city,
Right
but
here.
for the town, by the residents of the community.
Down there. Straight down
The
with
plan
it.
was that they would peacefully, quote unquote, peacefully protest for a few hours, and then when
So
it got
right
dark,
here
they
at
would burn the
courthouse,
town to the
Weatherford,
ground
Texas.
and tear down their Civil War memorial.
I know there was a lot of people that said they were coming. Thank you, Ashley. A lot of people said they were coming, and
The woman's
they
voice
are-
you're listening
Hey,
to, she
Stephanie,
is
look at
talking
this. Look at this
on.
truck.
This is
Look, I
a
saw him a while
Facebook
ago.
Live
Jail
video that she shot. Now look at this. Watch this.
Look at him. Watch this, guys. This is funny. Slow down. Slow down. Look at that.
Obama.
I got a guy inside in an Obama mask and a woman
That's
inside
funny.
wearing a
That is
Hillary
so
Clinton
funny.
mask.
I love it.
That's
Everybody waving our flags.
yeah, and they're waving
We are here
the
to
rebel
defend
flag.
ourselves.
What do you?
I know.
What's your?
Oh my God.
Why not?
I
Huh?
know.
Why not?
Who would have thought this would have happened in Weatherford?
Weatherford, Texas, on Saturday. It was supposed to be
Who would have
a
thought this
peaceful
would have happened?
protest turn into, which was
For
going
them
to
being
turn
bused
into
in. What
a
is there,
violent
50
riot
maybe?
later in the evening, and
Yeah, maybe.
they
50
chickened
people.
out. They left.
Maybe.
They saw the pushback
Yeah,
from the
that's okay.
residents
Hey,
of
I got
this
water.
town.
I got
This
water.
is
What you
not
got,
far
baby?
from Dallas.
Got your attitude.
Weatherford, Texas, just outside the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Damn it. It's crazy, people. Hey, you're covering up my... Hey! We know who we voting for. You ain't got to cover up my phone. Weatherford rocks. That's right, Russell. That's right. Woohoo! Yeah. He knows. He knows. What I got? Harley written all over my face. Ah. Thank you, baby. You know I love me a loud Harley. Okay, so see that woman right there? That's the way I'm going to be. She is one bad.
See the woman with an AR-15 rifle. This is what you do,
Why the fuck
folks.
you-
This
oh.
is what you do. These sons of bitches come to your town, come to your neighborhood, come to your community
So we still got...
to bully you, to try and intimidate you. You show up, and you show up armed to the hilt. You ain't gonna get away with trying to disrupt life
Where are we going?
in Weatherford,
What's this girl
Texas.
say? Matter is the minimum. Okay. Free history lessons.
Don't you touch her.
Who's touching?
She got a fucking Trump shirt on. She walking through with matter as a minimum.
Okay, that's what she was doing. Hi, how are you? How long have y'all been here?
Since about 2:30.
2:30? Has it been like this since 2:30? No, we just kind of started having... I'm live, and we've got 269 people.
You got a lot more than that.
So people,
I'm sure.
just keeping people
I'm
updated.
sure a lot more than
This
269
is Weatherford, guys.
people
Definitely
who've seen
came to
this
the
video.
wrong
Well,
town.
actually, I'm not so sure.
Definitely.
Because the media didn't want you to see this portion of the video. There was one confrontation between a rioter, a potential rioter, and a counter demonstrator. We'll call him that. Yeah, I can play that game too, you know.
This is live, so people can say, okay.
There was one confrontation. A guy got punched in the snoot.
I think I got myself in. You get yourself in trouble. Well, you know,
And he
I'm
deserved it.
mouthy, and so it's okay. It's okay.
The guy that got punched in the snoot
Say what I
deserved
need
it.
to say, and that's it.
He actually took he took a protest sign. I don't have that on video. I didn't record that. I didn't download that.
Barbara.
But he took his protest sign and bashed a man in the head that he thought it would, hey, I can hit this guy. I can smack this guy around and he's not going to respond. The guy beat the shit out of this guy.
Probably about 300 people, guys. And they're over there, but it's kind of hard to see.
Now, she says there's about
really like a
300
group
of these rioters preparing to tear down their statue for them.
Read again. Read again.
I've heard estimates anywhere from 50 to 250.
Oh, here we go.
But there is easily more people in Weatherford, Texas here. There are more residents of Weatherford, Texas than there are protesters. And that's the way it went down. It lasted, like I said, it lasted about an hour or so. And it was over. And it was over, and it only lasted an hour. In fact, they left before the sun ever went down in Weatherford. They left between the buses were not, as I understand what I read about it, the buses were not prepared to leave before 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock to take the rioters back to Dallas where they could do some damage there. But they left early because it wasn't going to work. That's the way you do it. That's the way you respond. You show up and listen. They don't intend for there to be any pushback. These rioters don't intend for there to be any pushback. There was virtually no violence other than the one incident that I mentioned, and that was self-defense. That was self-defense. That's why, if you haven't heard about what happened on Saturday in Weatherford, Texas, and you may not have, you didn't hear about it? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because it ended up being a non-event. It ended up being a non-event, folks. And the lamestream media just looked the other way because they don't want to promote the fact that people are pushing back. They don't want to report that. As a matter of fact, I saw an article at CNET the other day about Whole Foods. Now, Whole Foods, I'm not sure I think, I could be wrong, but I think Whole Foods is actually owned by Amazon. The grocery chain is owned by Amazon. And Whole Foods has told their workers they're not allowed to come to work wearing Black Lives Matter gear. No T-shirts, no face masks, no baseball cap, none of that Black Lives Matter stuff for the employees at Whole Foods. Well, guess what? Now the workers at Whole Foods are accusing the grocery chain of racism and discrimination against them because they don't allow their employees to wear Black Lives Matter face masks or T-shirts at work. So they're suing. or at least they're talking about a class action lawsuit. I believe the first steps of that lawsuit were filed last week. The workers there alleging that Whole Foods sent employees home without pay, and in some cases took other disciplinary actions against these workers for wearing face masks or T-shirts with BLM emblazoned all over them. Look at the way these little pussies act, as if their boss, their employer, has no say-so in what they do at work. This is what they believe. This is what these people believe. The allegations, it says here, appear to clash with public support for BLM from Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos. Jeff, are you listening? What's up with that, Jeff? Jeff, can I call you Jeff? Can I call him Jeff, Bob? Oh, yeah. Okay. Jeff, what's up? You posted responses to customer emails by defending. We heard about this, about defending Black Lives Matter, defending something on Amazon's website about Black Lives. I never saw it. But you posted all about this, and you went public with it, and talk about how much you support Black Lives Matter, and how anybody who disagrees with your support of Black Lives Matter is a racist. But now your company, which owns Whole Foods, is sending employees home. Now they're required to wear face masks, the employees at Whole Foods, but they can't wear the BLM face masks. So now they're getting sued. Now they're getting sued by their employees because the employees claim, hey, man, that's discrimination. You can't do that to us. That's discrimination. Bullshit. Bullshit. Now, I got to ask you, who do you think is the most dangerous organization active in America today? Because I know some of you might say BLM. A lot of my viewers, my listeners, would probably say that. Oh, Black Lives Matter. Most dangerous. Or perhaps some, Al-Qaeda sleeper cell in America today. I tend to disagree. I've said the same thing for years. The most dangerous organization in the United States are the teachers' unions. And the reason I say this is because the teachers' union, that's how we got BLM. Because somebody didn't educate our kids properly. We give up our kids for the better part of the day to public schools and public school teachers who are teaching a curriculum that is based on hating America, that is based on negative and lies, absolute lies. I know it would be nice to think that more people know this, but apparently they don't. The fact is that only 1/3 of the people in the United States know this. I think if you knew what I'm about to share with you, there would be a revolt. Let me ask you, how much do you think is spent by the government? How much of your taxpayer dollars are spent to educate our kids in this country? How much money do you think? $3,000-$4,000 per kid per year, per student, every year, annually? How about $17,000 a year per student in America today? That is what is spent to educate our kids in the public education system, in public schools. Despite this decline in quality education spending, folks, has doubled just since the 1980s. Now, with all of that money, why are kids graduating high school, going through all 12 years of education, and coming out not knowing how to do simple basic math, not understanding simple basic English or history? What's the cause of that? If all that money is being spent, $17,000 per kid per year, how much does it cost you to send your son or your daughter to a private school? Not $17,000 a year, I'll tell you that. Unless you got some really expensive school that you've been looking at. But despite this conspicuously high number, we see a decline in the quality of education in this country. The money pours into the pockets of who? Who's getting that money? I'll tell you right now. Non-teaching bureaucrats within the system. Non-teacher, not teachers' salaries. No, this is the work of the increasingly greedy teachers' unions, which enjoy the uncritical support of the lamestream media as well as the Democrat Party. Liz Wheeler explains all of that. I'd like to share this with you right now on the Jazz McKay Show. Check it out.
1/3 of Americans do not know how much money we spend on each student per year in the public school system. 1/3 of people polled think we spend less than $5,000 per student per year. The truth? We actually spend between $14,000 and $17,000 per student per year in the public school system in our country. In other words, the vast majority of people think we spend way less than we actually do. In reality, the American taxpayer is extremely generous when it comes to opening our wallets and giving money for children's schooling. In fact, since the 1980s, education spending has doubled in our country. And since the 1960s, education spending has nearly tripled, increasing by 280%. And yet, all of this money has not correlated to improved academic outcomes for students. On the contrary, as we've exponentially increased education spending, academic achievement has remained stagnant. Why is this? 2 words: teachers' unions. In California alone, between the years 1992 and 2015, education spending increased by 26%. And what did they spend all that money on? Well, not on your child, not on your child's education, not classrooms, not teacher salaries. Nope. That money, your tax money, was spent hiring non-teacher staff at a hugely disproportionate rate compared to the growth rate of the student population in schools. Here's what I mean. If the state of California had increased non-teaching staff only as much as the student population increased, so still hiring new non-teaching staff, but at a proportional rate to the increase in student population, they could give every teacher an $11,000 raise tomorrow. Funny how the teachers' unions never mention that when they're complaining about teachers' salaries. So why should we give more federal money to public schools then? We spend $14,000 to $17,000 per student per school year, and yet public schools are still failing. So maybe, just maybe, the problem isn't lack of funding. Maybe the problem is the public school system run by government bureaucrats and by teachers' unions. Instead, imagine if parents were given that amount of money, say $15,000 per year, and they could spend it on tuition at whatever school they wanted for their child. Most private schools don't cost that much. So ask yourself, why do teachers' unions and Democrat politicians oppose school choice and voucher programs that would empower parents to send their kids to almost any school? The answer is plain as day. Teachers' unions want more taxpayer money from Democrat politicians, and Democrat politicians give more money to teachers' unions in exchange for campaign donations. According to a New York Times piece from 2010, and I quote, "The 2 national teachers' unions, the American Federation of Teachers and the larger National Education Association, together have more than 4.6 million members. That's roughly a quarter of all the union members in the country. 10% of the delegates to the 2008 Democratic National Convention were teachers' union members. In the last 30 years, the teachers' unions have contributed nearly $57.4 million to federal campaigns, an amount that's about 30% higher than any single corporation or other union. And they've typically contributed many times more to state and local candidates. About 95% of it has gone to Democrats, end quote. It's a vicious circle that ends with radical leftist indoctrination in schools, which suits the agenda of both the greedy teachers' unions and the Democrat politicians. And Republicans, who could step in and put a stop to this wasteful spending, poor education, and leftist indoctrination of our nation's school children, what do Republicans do? They cave. They refuse to fight the fight. And so the cycle continues. More of your money will be taken, and your child will be taught in school that America's evil, and you'll have no choice to take your money to another school.
There you have it. They just laid it out for you. Just laid it out for you. That's Liz Wheeler from One America News. I mean, think about it. We have today teachers' unions refusing for the teachers to go back to work because of the fear of coronavirus. Unwarranted fear. Not going to open the schools in November, or in September, I should say. Well, they'll probably open the schools after the November election. But think about for the money that we spent, and frankly, in my opinion, every one of those teachers should be fired. Every single solitary one should be fired. If you don't go back to school, if you don't go back to the classroom, you're out of here. Yeah. Think about the money that we spend, folks. Our taxpayer dollars. For that money, what do we get? We get kids that cannot read, that cannot do simple mathematics, but who have been brainwashed. Brainwashed to hate this country, to hate our heritage, to hate our culture. This has resulted in the generation we're seeing right now burning down courthouses in Portland. This has resulted in what we're seeing now in the form of riots in Seattle, in Portland, in Chicago. This is the result of what we have seen, the results being buses carrying 300 quote-unquote protesters, rioters in reality, to Weatherford, Texas, to tear down a Civil War memorial. Meanwhile, the teachers' unions refuse to open these schools this September. They refuse. In effect, they're on strike. The teachers' unions refuse, and the politicians agree. Even Republicans, as Liz Wheeler stated there. Republicans, you're fucking useless. You're useless, you spineless bunch of fucking weasels. The school districts, which are run. Who runs the school district? Anytime. You know what? I heard Terry Maxwell. I actually do listen to Terry once in a while. Believe me, at 3 o'clock, if you're going to listen to talk radio, it's the only person that makes any sense, even though he'll put you to sleep, man. You got to drink a lot of coffee before you listen to Terry Maxwell. But at least he has addressed a very, very, very big problem that we have in our education system in this country. And that is that the people that run for school board, the people who sit on the school boards, are ex-teachers. Members of teachers' unions. The unions are running the school districts. What the hell is up with that? Think about this. If you're a member of a union, say a carpenter, the carpenters union, and do members of the carpenters union sit on the board that determines how much you earn as a carpenter? Do the carpenters union, do the plumbers union, whatever union you can think of. It only happens with public employee unions, and it happens primarily with your teachers' unions. And that's government. As far as I'm concerned, all public employee unions, that includes every teachers' union in this country, should be deemed illegal. They should be outlawed. Every public employee union, and let's start with the teachers' unions. Defund them. Defund them. Take away the money. Fire every teacher who refuses to go back to work in September. You don't like that? Guess what? Fuck off. Fuck your union contracts. And fuck the school boards, too. They're not going to open the schools because the teachers' unions say not to. And all the members of, the vast majority at least, of the members of the school boards are union members. Jeez, what a scam. Man, the unions have been, what a scam. I actually had somebody the other day say to him, when I said to defund and outlaw the teachers' unions on Facebook, actually say, oh, yeah? Well, how about we do that with the police officers' unions, huh? And I said, I agree. Shouldn't know what to say. All public employee unions should be disbanded, outlawed. No, you don't get it. You don't get collective bargaining if you work for the government. Screw that. So the teachers' unions refuse to open up the schools in the fall until their demands are met. Did you hear this? It doesn't have anything. This has nothing to do with being worried about getting back to school and contracting the COVID, for getting sick. No, bullshit. They're demanding they're demanding their demands, and these demands totally unrelated to education. Listen to this. The North Carolina Teachers Union is now calling for the implementation of universal health care and welfare benefits for illegal aliens. Otherwise, they refuse to reopen the schools this fall. You explain to me how that radical leftist position has anything to do with COVID-19. They're using it as an excuse. COVID. How does that have anything to do with your child's education? That's a North Carolina Teachers Union refusing to go back to work unless we get welfare benefits and universal health care for illegal aliens? And how about right here in California? Right here in the great phallic-shaped state of California. According to policy papers put out by the United Teachers Los Angeles Union, apparently they are requiring things like a federal bailout for the union. They're requiring Medicare for all for the union. They're requiring wealth and millionaires taxes. They are demanding, we will not go back to school. We will not go back to work. We will not teach your children until you defund the Los Angeles Police Department. Until you put an end to charter schools. Until the financial support for undocumented students is effectively to students before they will effectively return to work. What does any of that have to do with COVID-19? That's their excuse. That's their excuse for not going back to work. Look, if you don't meet their outlandish demands, guess what? They won't teach, but they'll still get paid. I mean, hell's bells, man. If some teacher accused of molesting children can still get paid, he can't be fired, according to the union contracts. He can't be fired. So they sit in what's called a rubber room all day long until they go home. All the schools have them. They have a room somewhere where they take teachers who have been accused of any number of things, smoking pot with the students, guess what? You can't fire him. You gotta pay him according to the contract. Listen, here's the bottom line, man. If Reagan could fire the air traffic controllers, right? Remember that? There's no damn reason in the world why these teachers, represented by these malignant tumors known as teachers' unions, cannot be fired and replaced by some of the millions of regular Americans who are now out of work, thrown out of work by the overreaction to the COVID-19. And I'm telling you right now, you give me a job as a teacher, and you're going to see, I don't know, I could be a teacher. No, you fire all the teachers, you make them reapply, and you dissolve all teachers' unions. Tear up the contracts. Fuck them. That's it. That's it. What on earth do any of these demands that are being made by these unions have to do with education? What do they have to do with the COVID-19? The one in North Carolina is the craziest. This is from the Washington Free Beacon. A North Carolina teachers union is calling for the implementation of universal health care and welfare benefits for illegal aliens in order to reopen the schools in the fall, just days after the Durham Association of Educators issued a statement railing against the school district's plan to reopen. Durham Public Schools voted unanimously to hold all classes virtually. In other words, on the internet, where it doesn't work. Okay, the kids don't sign on, they don't log on, they don't do it. These teachers want to stay home, they don't want to work, and their union has made it very clear: until illegal aliens are given welfare benefits, they're not going to go back to work. So there you have it. I do not for the life of me understand how anybody could support the teachers' unions. But we do. Yeah. And we don't have an opposition party to do anything about it. The Republicans are too spineless, too gutless to step up and do what's right. Every so often, you need an adult in the room. Every so often. Don't you agree? Every so often, you need somebody to act like the adult. Instead of these spoiled brats. The Democrat Party and the Republicans are doing nothing. The Republicans don't do a damn thing. I don't know if they're too scared, or are they on the take too? That's got to be it. That's got to be it. I mean, call me cynical if you will, but that's got to be it. They've got to be they've got to be just as corrupt as the Democrat Party. Or is it because they're just gutless, spineless little weasels who won't do because they're afraid? I mean, we know what at least the Democrats are getting something out of this. They're getting campaign donations. They're getting money. They're getting paid off. But that's not the case with the Republicans. But for whatever damn reason, the Republicans just will not give. They don't seem to give a rat's ass. They don't give a rat's ass There's only one Republican that really does, and that's Donald Trump. The Republican Party doesn't do a damn thing. Donald Trump does. I got another one of those damn circulars in the mail. Donate to the Republican. Fuck that. Don't donate to the Republican Party. Donate to Donald Trump. Support Donald Trump 100%. But the damn Republican Party, for the most part, are a bunch of gutless weasels. Well, the Democrats are out there playing their little game, right? Which their little game is to bitch and moan and whine. They're like spoiled brats. They're like children. They're like little kids screaming and yelling and kicking the table leg, sitting at the dinner table demanding, I want candy, I want candy. And there's one Republican who acts like the adult in the room and tells them no. And that's why God's honest truth, folks, that's it. That's the reason we got the COVID-19. That's the reason we got the lockdown. It is 100% because the Democrats are a bunch of well, I was going to say Democrats are spineless. That's not true. They got spines, but they're getting kicked right smack in the nuts by Donald Trump, and that's why they're so opposed to him.
Gives a shit what you want. Shut your mouth. This is a restaurant. These people are trying to eat their lunch. Shut up. You shut your mouth. You keep your mouth shut. No one wants to hear your mouth when they're eating dinner.
And that is going to do it for me, man. I'm out of here. That's the Jazz McKay Show for a Manic Monday. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you were entertained, and I hope you were informed. Remember, if you're not pissed off, you're not paying attention. Right down below, you'll see a little button on Twitch that says share. You'll see a little button down there on Facebook that says share. Please do share this video. Share this podcast. I want to thank Ashley for being with us, Ashley O'Brien. I want to thank all of you who put up with me for 90 minutes, for being here today. And remember, God bless America and death to the New World Order. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it all over again, every day, every Monday through Friday here on the Jazz McKay Show. The babes are taking us out. God bless